Welcome to the Heartbreak to Happiness Show with Sara Davison. If you're struggling with a breakup and you feel shocked, angry, betrayed, devastated, or sad and alone, then this podcast is for you. Best-selling author and award-winning host Sara Davison shares how you too can get on with your life to heal, grow, and move from heartbreak to happiness. Here's your host, Sara Davison.
Welcome back to the show, and today we're going to talk about Valentine's Day. Yes, that dreaded day for so many singles. I know there are plenty of you out there who think that it's just another marketing day and you can take it all in your stride. But I do know there are many people that are struggling with the idea of Valentine's Day because it shines a spotlight on being single, doesn't it? Everywhere you look in shop fronts, there's hearts and there's cards and there's special restaurant deals and hotel deals for those couples who are in love and want to go away on a romantic weekend. Now, when you've just recently been dumped, or you're still struggling to get over your breakup, or maybe you're in the midst of a really hideous divorce, that is the last thing that you want to see, because it just reminds you of what you don't have right now. So I wanted to do this episode to dive into Valentine's Day and to show you that you can take your power back, you can dial down those negative emotions, and you can actually flip it into something that could be quite good fun. So let's have a look. Now, did you know, I don't think many people know this, but there was a survey that showed that there are more dumpings the week before Valentine's Day than any other week of the year. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Maybe not, though, if you think about it. Why is it that there are more people ending relationships and in that week running up to Valentine's Day than any other week of the year, do you think? Well, some of the suggestions that pop to mind might be that maybe they're not really committed to the relationship, quite obviously. So they want to get out before they have to make those big declarations of love. They don't want to go through the hassle of getting a card and the flowers or booking a restaurant. Or maybe it just makes people face up to the fact that maybe this relationship isn't for them. So when it comes to celebrating that relationship on the 14th, they really don't want to do that. So sometimes it calls a halt to relationships before Valentine's Day quite abruptly. And I've had many clients come to me just after Valentine's Day who have been dumped in the week running up to Valentine's Day. Now, again, if you're expecting Valentine's Day to be something special and you had the rug pulled from under your feet, that can be devastating. I know it happened to me about 10 years ago and I was absolutely devastated. But you move on, you get stronger. So in this episode, I'm going to share with you how you can do that, how you can start to feel better about being single in general, let alone at this time of year when it comes to Valentine's Day. So there are many types of love, aren't there? There's the love that we're talking about here, where it's love for that romantic partner in your life. But this is only one type of love, guys. This is only one type of love. There's also the love we have for our kids, which is very different. We also have the love we have for our friends, maybe our parents or other family members. The love we have for our pets. If any of you have got dogs or cats or horses, something that you're really close to, that you feel connected to, again, there'll be a lot of love in those relationships. So it's really important that we focus on love as a bigger subject, that we can fulfill our need for love and connection in many different ways. It doesn't just have to be through a romantic partner. Now, obviously, Valentine's Day is focused on that, which is, again, why we can feel a little bit upset or uneasy about Valentine's Day. But do remember that there are other kinds of love. So if you have children, if you have good friends, then these can be other sources for you to top up your love supply. I always like to think of it as a little bucket. When you're going through a breakup, quite often we think it's completely empty of love. So that little love bucket is empty and we need to top it up. But actually, have a think. Is it really empty? Do you have friends who love you? Do you have other family members who really care and love you? Do you have pets that love you? Okay, so all these other sources can top up your love bucket, as I like to call it. And so it doesn't feel so empty. Okay, so number one, let's top up that love bucket just by realizing that there are other sources of love that can make you feel secure and like you have people around you who really genuinely care about you and your best interests. Now, there is one other source of love here that we haven't touched on yet, and that is, yeah, you got it, it's self-love. So what is self-love? Well, some people feel really uncomfortable with that word, right? Self-love, because it feels a little bit selfish. It feels a little bit self-obsessed. And how can I love myself and still be a good person? Doesn't that mean I'm going to be full of myself? One of my clients recently said. But actually, what it means is completely the opposite of that. It's really accepting yourself. It's a sense of acceptance for your strengths and your weaknesses, the things you're really good at and the things you're terrible at. You know, just accepting you for the way you are. I think Colin Firth said it perfectly in the original Bridget Jones when he said, I like you just the way you are. Do you remember that? Oh my goodness, that line just really hit me hard in the heart, because I just thought, wow, that is such a powerful line, just to accept someone for who they are. Now, that was somebody else. That was Colin Firth telling her that at the time, Mr. Darcy. However, what I'm talking about here is for you to love yourself just the way you are, because you are perfect just the way you are. You don't need to be thinner or more intelligent or have more money or be happier. None of those things, okay, really, really matter. What really matters is that you accept yourself just the way you are. That doesn't mean say you settle. If there's things you'd like to do, maybe you'd like to gain more muscle, maybe you'd like to be happier, then it's about setting goals to get yourself towards those things and take small steps every day to get there. And that's what most of my podcasts are all designed to give you, those little small steps to give you that momentum. However, what we're talking about here is really committing just to love yourself, warts and all, how you are right now, just to accept that this is you. You might be hurting right now. You might feel very alone right now. You might feel like nobody else really understands what you're going through. You may really feel that you're struggling to cope right now. Please know that these things are all normal, really normal. It's part of the healing process from any breakup. It's part of that grieving process as you start to figure out what comes next. You start to let go of that old relationship and start to create a new life where other things have to come in to create a life that you're excited to live. And that is a process, and it can take a little bit of time. But as long as you have the hope that you will get there, even if you don't know how right now, and if you can learn to love yourself and accept yourself just the way you are right now, then that is going to help you to take your power back so that you can start to make some of these small steps moving forward. So that this time next year, going into Valentine's Day, you won't care whether you have a partner or you don't have a partner, because you'll be having so much fun. You'll be enjoying life. You are a whole person just as you are. Okay, remember that. Like some people say, well, my other half. Well, they're not your other half. You are a whole on your own. Okay, and sometimes we forget that, and that's okay. It's normal. But what I would love for you is that we get you back to the place where you build your self-reliance so that you can generate your own happiness from within. You don't need somebody else to fill those gaps, because that's never a good, strong foundation. What I'd love is that we start to help you fill those gaps that you feel maybe you have, those areas you'd like to improve on or strengthen, all those areas, so that actually when you meet someone, you're a whole person looking for another whole person to create a dynamic relationship with, okay? A positive, healthy relationship, not one based on neediness, okay? Where you both need each other to complete things. Now, that doesn't mean that you're ever going to be a perfect human being, because nobody is, okay? And we all have strengths and weaknesses, and we find partners who can bring out the best in us and help us during those tougher times, for sure. But this is really about healing those wounds, learning the lessons, and yeah, you got it, banking them so that we don't keep making them over and over again. So taking your power back and feeling empowered so that you can turn around some of those negative things, like, for example, maybe how you see Valentine's Day, so that these things don't impact you negatively anymore, so that you can navigate them. So that, yes, okay, you might be a bit disappointed, but it's not devastation. There's a big difference between disappointment and devastation. Okay, so this is all about dialing down that devastation. So it's just disappointment, because that's a lot more manageable for you. Okay, it's a lot more manageable, it's a lot more pleasant, and you can grow during that time rather than being stuck and looking inward. Okay, so what can we do? How can you put some things together for Valentine's Day to turn it, or flip it, as I like to say, into something that's much more empowering for you and helps you move forward on that healing process rather than keeping you stuck? So first of all, let's think big, okay? Let's write a list of everything that you can do now that you could never have done with your ex. I like to call this your breakup bucket list, but maybe we can make it a little bit more specific for Valentine's Day. So it's things you could do on that list that you could never have done while you're with your ex, okay? What we want to do is focus on all the new possibilities that you have now. When you're focusing on all the new possibilities, you will be so surprised at what pops into your mind as an idea or a suggestion. And if you're really struggling with this, you can do it with a friend, because quite often friends are not as associated with it as you, so they can give you some really creative ideas that maybe you hadn't thought of. Okay, so a second thing you can do. I have a client called Judy who is really concerned about not getting a card for Valentine's Day because she's had a card from her husband for the last 20 years. And she was like, but this is going to be the first year I don't get a Valentine's Day card. Now, for some of you, maybe that's a good thing, because maybe it was a habit that your ex-husband sent you a card. Maybe they didn't even really mean the emotions behind the card, but it was a habit. Okay, so maybe it's time just to screeching halt. Let's try something new. Let's not have a card this year. Or if that's a little bit tough for you to cope with, then why not ask a friend to send you a card? Or if you've got kids, especially little kids, you can get them to make you a card, okay? So you can get the paper and the card and the glue and everything, and they can make something for you at home and have fun doing it. And then you've got a card, right? So it really depends for you how you feel about that. But for a lot of my clients, I found that actually asking someone else to send them a card, agreeing, look, you're single, I'm single, let's send each other cards, at least then we get one, is a really nice thing to do. And have a think, is there anyone in your world that you know would get a little boost from getting a Valentine's card? Now, some people may not want it, some people do. So you know your friends better than me, but have a think, because sometimes it can really put a spring in somebody's step. Okay, now number 3, what else can you do? Why not plan a singles evening for February the 14th instead? There's so much focus, and it's all marketing, let's face it, around Valentine's Day being for couples. But why not celebrate being single? Flip it completely on its head and plan an evening with your single friends. If you don't fancy going out, then you could just have a pizza party at home, make it super easy and simple. But there are lots of ways that you can turn the 14th into a really fun evening, and you can share that with other people. Now, if sharing with other people is not your thing and you're thinking, I'm going to find it hard, I just want to lock myself away. Well, how about turning that locking yourself away into something that is self-care? Something that actually nurtures you rather than leaves you feeling worse at the end of it. So what do I mean by that? Well, what do you enjoy doing? Maybe it's a long hot bath with some bubbles. Maybe it's a glass of wine. Maybe it's getting a takeaway in and curling up in your comfy clothes in front of Netflix, watching your favorite box set right now. Whatever it is for you, why not plan to do that on the 14th? Again, this is another way. You can apply this to the 14th of February. You could apply it to Christmas Day, to birthdays, to anniversaries. There's so many ways that you can turn these difficult, challenging days into days that actually are neutral, or you enjoy even, which is hopefully what we're aiming for here. But I know it can take a little bit of practice. It's all about dialing down those negative emotions, dialing down the intensity so that you get a chance to breathe, to nurture yourself, or even to have some fun. So have a think about what you can do to take your power back so that you can start feeling better. Because this is one day in the calendar, guys, but these tools are really applicable to any day that you know that you're going to have a tough time with. So do try these techniques out, guys. Do contact me on my DMs on Instagram and let me know how you're finding these, or drop them on YouTube where you can watch this video, and let me know how you're getting on, because small steps every day using these tools and building up your own toolkit of how to navigate the ups and downs after a breakup will leave you feeling stronger, able to make better decisions, and ultimately feeling happier. Thank you for listening to today's episode and allowing me to help guide you from your heartbreak to your greatest happiness. I look forward to you joining me on our next episode.
That's it for today's episode of Heartbreak to Happiness. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review to win a free ticket to one of Sara's virtual retreats. The retreats are a transformative combination of live webinars with Sara herself, coupled with empowering online video programs designed to help you cope better with your breakup and start feeling happy again. For more details, head on over to heartbreaktahappinesspodcast.com, where you can also get a copy of Sara's free gift. Thank you, and join us again on the next episode for another dose of Heartbreak to Happiness.